Places, everyone, places.
You ready for this one?
Yeah?
Episode number 2.
What's up, man?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the top. This is a takeoff. This is a podcast. Coach Adam right here. This is Jose Fates.
What's up, everybody? Fates by Jose.
Oh man, so how we feeling, man? How we feeling today? What's been going on these past few days?
Chilling, man. Just chilling, working. That's it.
Soaking everything in, man.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the first episode we filmed a few days ago?
Man, it was actually a really good episode. I felt like we got to cover a couple of topics, as far as some stuff we overcame as far as my business and then your business as well, and some of those stuff that has structured us throughout these years. So that's good.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And I know we had a brief introduction of what we're trying to do with this platform, with this podcast. And once again, I think this is only the beginning.
Yeah.
Pretty much trying to break down, pretty much be transparent, be vulnerable a little bit to the audience of what we're trying to do here. And once again, like I said, give them a point of view from us in our lives, what we do on a daily basis with your business, with my business, with the baseball, and yours with the barber world, and also not just business-wise, but personal,
Yeah.
And I know these past few days, we've been talking, communicating back and forth, and one thing that we were always talking about consistently every day was the World Baseball Classic, man.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that, man. I know you went to a few games, right?
So I went to Mexico versus USA, and then I got to go that Wednesday, Mexico versus Italy. I mean, it didn't end too good for the Mexicans, man. But it was still a good.
It was rough. rough.
Yeah, it was.
It was rough.
It was still like a good, place to be, I guess. Especially because you have so much really good players out there, so much stars. You got from the USA team, you have Bobby Witt, you have what's his name?
You got Bryce Harper. You got Aaron Judge,
Bryce
and
Harper.
Paul Skeens, man. My guy, he's a beast. He's an animal, man.
He threw a really good game that day.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I know you had mentioned you went to a few games. I did get a chance to go to one game, the Mexico versus Italy. But once again, it was not a good turnout for Team Mexico.
Yeah.
But like I said, I can never shy away from those games because I'm a big baseball fanatic. My business is around baseball, my baseball organization, and as much as I love to coach with getting in touch with all these young boys, kids that are gonna become young men. I do sometimes like to take a step back and just be a fan, man. So I've really enjoyed being a fan and just watching the game, watching the atmosphere. And that's another one that we always talk about, the atmosphere, the culture of the Hispanic men, the Latinos, man. So get into that, man. What's something that you saw, noticed, going into the baseball atmosphere with the Mexico games?
Well, one thing, man, I'll tell you one thing, man. Those Mexico fans, even though we were out of the game, man, we were still bringing the cheers, the ambience. Everyone was together, united, cheering on Mexico. They were all like, "Sí se puede, sí se puede."
Yeah.
Al final no se pudo, pero it's all good, right?
No era penal, right?
Yeah, no era penal. No era penal.
Nah, we're not even gonna get started about that one. Oh man, now that's good, man. Like I said, that's one thing when it comes to baseball, man. It's the passion, man.
Yeah.
The hunger, man. About playing for your national team, playing for your country, man. And that's one thing I saw with Team Mexico, Team Dominican Republic, Team Venezuela. With shout out to Venezuela.
Yeah, Venezuela.
They won the whole thing. It was very good game, man.
Yeah.
There was I think a 3-2 game, right? Venezuela beat the
3-2.
USA.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, like I said, that energy, man, that culture that we was talking about, it's big with the Hispanics, man. So
definitely, man. I just want to bring up one key point that I realized. Well, I didn't realize. I saw throughout the whole game through Venezuela. They were talking about something about Venezuela. As a country, they wear their country on them, and I felt that when Venezuela played, man, they brought the intensity. They were more united as a team, and that's kind of what we, as the Takeoff podcast, is kind of trying to bring in more realization into this podcast.
Absolutely.
I feel like both of us, as male Latino businessmen, we not only bring the American culture, but we also bring the Latino culture, and
we don't forget about our roots.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't forget about our roots.
So shout out to Venezuela one more time, man, because they really did their thing. you know, America was a tough team to beat,
Yeah, they were
man.
stacked,
They had
man.
sticks, and they really went out to
They were
play.
stacked. One thing that I did realize, and a few people talked about it,
Yeah.
I wasn't 100% sure what it was, but I think the final pitch of the game, the reliever, I forgot his name. It came across my mind. He was crying before that final pitch, and when it goes back to his, like you said, that passion that
Yeah.
these Latinos wearing the country's flag on their backs, wearing the colors with pride. And I think that's one thing as Hispanics, man. We are very culture driven. We don't forget about our roots, man. And I know we live in the United States, we live in America, and we
Yeah.
have a lot of opportunities here,
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
we're very grateful. I know I'm
yeah.
very grateful for the opportunities that
Yeah.
we're blessed with. I know my parents, they went through the struggles to get us here to the United States. They went through the struggles to give us a better life. Put us in position to be successful,
Yeah.
and what we have going on with our business ventures.
Yeah.
And once again, I think it's very difficult, man, because whenever I look at guys that I played ball with, played against, they didn't come from these easy routes. And I'm not saying that every route is easy. Everybody has their stories, adversities. But whenever you see the Latin countries, for me, my personal opinion,
Yeah.
they don't have a lot of avenues to success, man. They probably maybe have singing or becoming an artist, becoming a some kind of an actor, or maybe a
Yeah.
sports figure. And baseball wise, like I said, their only way out is the ball, man.
Yeah.
So you see how hungry they are. You see how driven they are, passionate about playing this game of baseball. And that's one thing I've seen a lot growing up through baseball.
Yeah.
That the Hispanic narrative about baseball players, man. I mean, they're very passionate about this game. It's pretty much a hit or miss, or it's pretty much like a, how do I say it? If they can't make it out, man, they're not gonna be able to be successful. I mean, that's the only way to get out of there.
And you brought up a good point. Like I felt like in the Hispanic culture, like how you said, there's only certain opportunities that they have to make it out. And I think that was one of the things that the announcer said on the game that just happened. I felt like they said something about USA kind of treats it as business.
Yes, I remember that saying.
And
Yes, yes.
Venezuela was more like like united, and the one that's united is gonna win the game overall. And I just felt like Dominican Republic, Venezuela, and
Cuba. He was another one,
yeah,
man. Yeah,
they were just bringing it, man. They were just together, and I felt like, I don't know, I felt like USA had the potential and they had the
that was
strength,
stacked.
but they just couldn't pull it off. And it kind of showed at the end who was a team player.
Well, yeah, I mean, it goes
Yeah.
back to that pressure. I know for these ball players, they feel the pressure from their countries. They're carrying their countries on their back too. But
Yeah.
I feel like the United States, if they don't succeed, next day we'll just go back to work.
Yeah.
With our respective baseball clubs. And
Yeah,
for
MLB.
some of these Hispanic countries,
Yeah.
it was make or break.
Yeah.
They took it with pride. They took it with passion.
Yeah.
And for them, failing was not an option.
Yeah.
That was the only way out. So I think that's what the announcer was trying to say, that they wore the country with pride. They wore the colors with pride, and they gave it all they had to play the game of baseball, man. So it was very beautiful to see this game, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, it definitely is showing me that it's growing, man. It's
Yeah.
not just an American game it's not just a Latino game. It's growing,
Yeah.
worldwide. And props to Japan. Props to all the Italy had a
yeah.
great run, man.
Italy had
Nobody expected
Italiano.
them. Yeah, man. Nobody, honestly, dude, nobody expected Team Italy to be in the semifinal.
yeah.
So
They
props
brought
to
it.
them. They brought it, man.
They
I mean,
brought
like I
it.
said, they put a good whooping on
Yeah.
Team Mexico, man. For sure, they did. Props to Italy, man. They did their thing for sure,
Italy
man.
came out, bro. They came out swinging.
They did the thing for sure, man.
They were swinging with loaf of bread.
Yeah. I mean, really, man. So honestly, like I said, I think it was a good experience, man. It's over, and I know every team, definitely was very proud of being part of the WBC, the World Baseball Classic, man. Once again, man, hats to all the ball players that participated, man.
Yeah, that's big, man. Especially representing your country and representing, something bigger. This is only the beginning for WBC. I remember 3 years ago it wasn't that popular, but now I think
Yeah,
it's
been growing. It's been growing.
So,
It's been growing a lot this past decade.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I know. I believe they started in 2006. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But every event that they have every few years. It's been growing and growing. I think last WBC, you know, it was big, but I don't. I think this one definitely showed a much more impactful game of baseball with the world. So I think that's definitely good to see, man.
Yeah.
With the sport growing for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, but one point that I do want to switch over to is
Yeah.
we mentioned these countries carrying their country on their backs, carrying those colors, the flag with pride. I'm sure there was so much pressure, there was so much intensity
Yeah.
going on through their mindsets, and that's one thing I want to go into. Like when it comes to pressure for us, Hispanic man, how is it that you handle your pressure when you're facing a challenge, when you're facing your business ventures, when you're facing anything personal? How do you handle pressure as a Hispanic individual?
That's a good question. That's you got me there, man. Man.
Put too much pressure on you?
Nah, absolutely not, man. But one thing is, I remember as a young kid, my dad always told me, just make sure you take a step back, like realize everything that's going in front of you. Enjoy what's going on, and really just make a plan and stick to that plan, and eventually everything will fall through.
For sure.
Sometimes it doesn't work out like that. Sometimes you kind of just have to go day by day.
Absolutely.
And just whatever life throws at you, you're gonna have to come back with something.
Absolutely. And I think going after your point is when people face pressure, they face challenges.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the upbringings of these young boys,
Yeah.
it's okay to, you failed. Oh, it's okay to walk away. No, I feel like as a young man, you should face that adversity, face that challenge, accept the pressure, and find a way to work through. Don't quit just because something gets difficult. Don't quit because something does not go your way. Because life gets tough, man.
Yeah.
Not everything's gonna go your way. So I think one thing as these young boys, start developing their mindset is they have to face that pressure. They have to accept that pressure and understand that not everything's gonna go your way. And I think them working on their mindsets, being positive, being being confident, that's gonna help them work through these adversities and face that pressure, accept it, and find a way to become successful. So what do you think about that?
No, absolutely. I agree. I agree, man. I felt like you touched some key points, man. Especially with, life's not gonna go your way, man. That's okay. That's okay. Just don't give up. Stay consistent and keep doing and chipping away. There was actually a barber that shout out to Brett Baza. He said something, and he said there was two axemen. I actually watched it yesterday. He said there was two axemen going at it, and they were both chopping a tree down. One kept chopping away. The other one would take breaks, sharpen up his axe, and sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey. Eventually, the one that was relaxed and like sharpen his knives, he ended up winning the axe contest. And it's kind of you kind of have to stop and realize, sometimes it's okay to take breaks. It's okay, but just
one
be
step
consistent.
at a time. One step at a time. That's absolutely, yes.
So I think it goes back to that, man. Just enjoy the journey, take a deep breath, and just keep going.
Absolutely.
Don't quit. Don't give up.
Oh, of course. You never quit, never back down. Face the challenge and find a way.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, I think going back to the WBC for sure. These Latin ball players, man, I'm sure they felt the pressure, man, and not just for them in the game, but imagine how they felt for their families. If they don't make it, they don't go pro, they don't make it to the next level. They feel like they're failing their families. I mean, some of these families, I'm sure, they grow up with no food on the table, no water, no electricity. And I think, I've been blessed that I've played a lot of baseball.
Yeah.
And, I've played outside the country, and I saw, some of these families. I saw some of these people, their only getaway was baseball. Their only avenue out was, sports. Yeah. And, to see some of these, families, these kids, man, just look up to, ball players, man, and just see their hunger, see their drive, man, and just be so passionate about it. It's a beautiful thing, man. So I know for sure those Latinos that carried that flag for them, man, that pressure was immense. That pressure was intense, and hats off to them, man, for sure. But like I said, going back to the pressure thing too, we talked about the whole baseball thing. We talked about me playing, and I know you played, yourself. what pressure did you have from your parents, or what pressure did you have from the coaches that allowed you to grow as this, great individual to eventually translate that pressure into your business?
There's a lot, there's a couple on top of my head, man. I felt like growing up, you always have that challenge as whether it's a coach or whether it's just making a shot or hitting that ball and getting to first base. That kind of carries on, and you kind of just keep moving forward, right? And that's kind of translated to what I've done here in my business. Step by step. Okay, let's just let me just cut a couple heads. Let me just cut 5 heads. Let me just cut 10 heads. Next thing you know, 15 heads. And then you know what? Let me save up. Let me build my business. All right, I need to start some marketing. Okay, stuff like that. And little by little, it just collects over time, and it becomes a big, beautiful thing. And I think it's all a stepping stone overall. But when you take a look back and you take a glance at everything, you're just like, man, did I really just do this?
Yeah,
and
sure.
and I feel like that's how sports correlates. It just drives you to be a hungry individual overall.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you made that point, that you took a step back and you looked at, damn, look at what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's forgotten as well.
Yeah.
Even though you're on the come up to become the successful businessman, successful ball player, whatever it is, you still have to embrace the journey. You still have to, don't forget about what you've come across.
Yeah.
Don't forget, what it took to get to the top. And I think some people, they're just work, play, that whenever they retire, they never embrace the journey, through the whole process, man.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we can't get away from. And I think us, as Hispanic man,
Yeah.
I think we have felt the pressure, seen our parents go through those struggles, and they gave us this opportunity to have better lives that, we have to be grateful that, hey, man, I mean, we have a great opportunity here, man. And we also have to embrace it, man. We also have to understand that, life's a blessing, man. Life's a blessing, and we have to enjoy the moment and do not forget to live a little bit. So, yeah.
I like that one point that you brought up. I feel like as Hispanic, like males especially, sometimes you kind of just work at it. And next thing you know, you're like, you forget to embrace what's going on.
You're 50, 60 years old, and all you did is work all your life.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like you gotta live a little. It's okay to take off and go to out of vacation, or enjoy enjoy the beautiful the fruits, like they say.
Of course, yes.
So I think that's that's big, something big you just mentioned. So I think that
absolutely,
that's kudos. That's a good one right there, man. Yeah.
So, and that's for sure, man. Like I said, I when it comes to me, like I said, I definitely come from a household of hard work. I definitely saw that with my parents. And I saw that in the upbringing. Like I said, they gave us a great opportunity.
Yeah.
But once again, like I said, I've tried to replicate that. I don't think I'm ever going to, and that's just pretty much saying, how grateful I am for them. Giving us that foundation of hard work. But once again, I'm also not going to shy away that I do want to live. I do want to be a dad. I do want to enjoy those moments with my son. I do want to, have this opportunity to look back at what I've done, with this baseball thing. Like I said, I've been coaching for about 7-8 years already, almost a decade. And I've had this baseball organization for about 2 years already.
Yeah.
And yes, it seems like it's been a long process, but yet I also feel that I did it in such a quick turnaround. But then again, it's like time never stops.
Yeah.
Time does not stop.
Yeah.
Time is undefeated. And next thing you know, man, we're 45, 50 years old. And for what? Work. No, we have to embrace it, man.
Yeah.
We have to enjoy this process.
And I feel like going back to, like what our parents sacrificed for us, I feel like at the end of the day, that's kind of what they want, They don't want us to, work. They also want us to enjoy like our fruits,
Give a better life to us.
Live a little. They sacrificed a lot just so we can live a better life. And I do believe that. I'm not saying take advantage and just
absolutely
like kick rocks and just do nothing. No, but
no, of course not.
Just have a fun, live a little. Because I think that's what the reason why they came over, and they did what they did.
Have you ever heard of the term burning out, man? Burning out?
Oh yeah,
I mean, I think that's one of the most dangerous things, to be honest,
yeah,
especially, a Hispanic man, because when somebody begins to burn out, that's when your mindset just starts slowly deteriorating. It slowly
yeah,
starts going downhill. You find yourself in a dark place. You find yourself with, things that maybe you're not supposed to be doing. And next thing you know, man, you're in this dark place and can't find your way out, man. So I think that's why I made the comment of living a little bit to make sure you don't burn out, to make sure you sometimes take a step back and just relax, take a breath.
yeah,
Don't kill yourself just working, working, working. Yeah,
yeah,
we always need to work to get to the next level to find some sort of success.
yeah,
But we still gotta live first, We
yeah,
gotta live
absolutely.
first.
Yeah,
So yeah, man. So like I said, I know we've been, going through back and forth with the pressure, going back and forth with the living a little bit, but
yeah,
it goes back to, being grateful to have this opportunity with you for
yeah,
sure. And that's another big point, man. I think we would not be here if it wasn't for our parents that put us in this situation to have a better life, to
yeah,
be successful in what you're doing with your barber world, with
yeah.
what
What
I'm
you're
doing with my
doing with
baseball thing,
yeah,
for sure,
your
man. So
baseball.
yeah, hats off to you, man, for sure,
Yeah,
man. Hats
man.
off, man.
Yeah, I think that's another thing, right? We don't see a lot of males, congratulating other males, and I feel like, yeah, sometimes you
There
gotta,
you go.
tip your hat
Yeah,
off to other, role models or excellent individuals también,
yeah.
porque,
There's
you
a lot
know,
of hate, man. There's a lot of hate in this world, to be honest, man. No, I mean, you make
yeah,
a very good point, man.
yeah, yeah.
Somebody sees somebody being successful,
They're
and the
like,
first thing they want to do is,
nah,
like,
he ain't doing it right,
this and that, be hateful,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, for sure, man. That's definitely one thing that we've done, these past few months that we've, we connected and communicated, man. Giving me me giving you your flowers, giving me my flowers, man. And once again, like I said, this is just the beginning, man. So
yeah. This
every
is,
episode, I think we're gonna just keep on building and building and
yeah.
building, man. And I think we're just getting started, man. We're
We're
ready to
just
take off.
yeah, we're
We're
ready,
ready to
bro.
take
We're
off, baby.
ready to
Let's
take
go.
off. Um,
But yeah, man. Like I said, I think pretty much to finish off this episode, man,
okay,
I do have a segment that I want to introduce to the
okay,
pod.
yeah,
I call it roundtable for
okay.
sure.
Round
So
table.
my question is,
A round table.
you have a round table. You got 4 seats.
Okay.
One of them is your seat. You got one in front, one to the left, and one to the right.
Yeah.
Name 3 individuals you want to share that round table with, whether it's athletes, actors, anybody that's influential. Name 3 individuals that you would like to pick at their brain for whatever reason.
Okay. 3, right?
3 individuals that you want
Alright,
to sit at that round table with.
Man, I'll probably go with one is probably Elon Musk, just because he's such a successful businessman.
That's a big one right there.
Yeah, it is. Elon Musk is number 1. Number 2 will probably be Kobe Bryant, and Kobe Bryant because he's such a he was a hardworking individual. Number
The Mamba
3,
mentality.
yeah. Number 3 will probably be. If I had to pick, man, it would probably have to be.
Anybody from the barber world that you might look
Barber?
into?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll go with Vic. No, yeah, Vic Blends.
Vic Blends?
Yeah, Vic
Yeah.
Blends. Just because
I'm a fan of him, man. I like it.
He's
I like
doing
what he
so
does.
much for the barber community. He's being out. He's reaching out. He's not just a barber.
Mm-hmm.
He's reaching out, and little by little, he's solving these puzzles of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Giving out those free haircuts, getting to know people. Actually asking people what dreams they have,
Using his voice for good, man. I've
he's
seen a
using
few of
his
those.
voice for good, and that's something that you gotta show gratitude to, really.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
man.
What about you?
Woo. Well, I mean, I think you took one off my list. Definitely Kobe Bryant, man. Definitely Kobe Bryant. Like I said, I was a fan. Like I said, of Kobe Bryant. I love his mindset, man.
Yeah.
The way he worked, the way he had that no quit, mentality.
Yeah.
Very disciplined, very, very structured, with his hard work and his mindset. That's number 1 for sure. Number 2 for me, I would say Ken Griffey Jr.
Okay.
That was my favorite player coming up.
Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr., man.
One thing that I always wanted to figure out is, so when I played ball, man, I did have an opportunity to play ball with my dad on the same field.
Oh yeah.
So I know he was the first professional to play baseball with his dad on the Seattle Mariners. So I always wanted to find out and pick his brain at how do you feel, what was the pressure of him playing with his dad at the highest level. So yeah, so that's definitely one to I wanted to pick at the brain at. And the third one,
that's a good one. I like that
yeah,
one.
the third one, ooh man, that's a tough one, man. Oh, the GOAT, Tom Brady. Tom Brady, man.
Brady.
Look at the comeback story that this guy has.
Yeah.
6th-round draft pick.
Yeah.
Everybody doubting him. And I think it's safe to say that he's the GOAT, right?
Yeah. I watch a lot of football, man, but I'll tell you one thing, man. He's definitely a good football player, man. And the one thing is, it's a beautiful story what he has. He overcame so much adversity. Not only being one of the slowest quarterbacks to ever run the combine.
He's faster now at 45, 50 years old than he was as a 22-year-old out of college.
That's crazy, man. And he still looks super young. And on top of that, man, it's crazy because he had that one comeback here in Houston. Remember
the Falcons?
Falcons, yeah,
28-3, right?
Bro, I was watching that the other day on the video, man. That was incredible.
That was a comeback for sure.
You're not gonna see anything like that no more.
How many guys would see that score 28-3 going in the third quarter and just wrap it up, game over?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He didn't quit. He kept coming, coming, and he found a way to win the game.
But absolutely. And you know what I liked about his attitude? He mentioned something. He was like, "Game's not over. Game's not over." He was hyping up his teammates.
Sir.
Telling them, "Hey, game's not over." Optimistic motivation. That's what you got to carry as a leader. You can't just be, "Oh, they's not going my way."
Things got tough.
Yeah.
No quit mindset, and he found a way to win the game.
Definitely. Tom Brady's definitely one of the guys that
Sure. Yeah. Those are my three, man. Kobe,
that's a good three, man.
Ken Griffey, and the GOAT Tom Brady.
Man. Ken Griffey, he's beast, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So those are my three right there for sure, man.
Man, I like those three, man. I like those three, man.
Now the one that you took me by surprise is Elon Musk. Musk, like I said, I know he's a very successful businessman, but once again, like I said, he's very intelligent. I've seen a few interviews with him, man, and that's actually a great one that I also would want to pick at his brain. How did he become so successful? How does his mind work and all that?
But, it was actually funny. One time I was watching a video también, and they asked him. They said, "Whenever you were young, like you've always had money." He was like, "Oh no, not really." But he told me like it was crazy because he was in college, I think, and he would rent out his dorm to throw parties and live.
I heard about that one. I
was like, what the? Mm-hmm. Like, he would not look like that type of person. But, sometimes you got to do things, just to overcome things.
Now that you mentioned that, I have my three already. But I think my first runner-up, if I had to take one out, would be Mark Cuban.
Oh,
Mark Cuban's a big one. Yes, because he's different than other owners. Man. I think I've read a lot into him.
Mavericks.
His whole business mindset, the way he is, and the way. One thing that I do see Mark Cuban do is he does try to give back. Like I said, don't quote me on this, but what I've seen is with the medical situation, he does try to lower prices to help the lower class, the lower income people with better prices for medicines and all that. And I know medicine is a big avenue for a business, and we need it sometimes, to get better, to take care of our sick.
Yeah.
But once again, I think that's would be my first runner-up for sure, man.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, man. Anything else, man? What do you think?
Nah, man. I think this is a good episode, man. I think we're doing the right thing, and slowly but surely we're taking off right now, man.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Said the best is yet to come, guys. Like I said, it's only gonna get better.
Man. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. This is Takeoff Podcast, and please, we're taking off.
Thank you, Deuce. We out. See y'all next week.
Yes, sir.